What's going on, guys? Today we're going to talk about a fragrance from the house of Borntostandout. I believe this is a Korean house based out of South Korea. Couldn't be North Korea. I love this house so far from the fragrances I've smelled from it, but I have a few more left to examine from the house, and they just have pristine quality and, most importantly, some insane creativity. So let's see if they carry that motto over into this fragrance that we're going to discuss right now. Strap up.
Okay, I watch that head move side to side as I let this in into the room. You are on top, let's connect minds. Trying to get into a mood. We gon' be fine. Close up the blinds, no rush. Finish the food.
All right, welcome to the Scent Bubble. I am your host for the evening. I am on a fragrance journey and I'm taking you with me. From the house of Borntostandout, we have Burnt Roses. Now, let me clarify real quick before we do an initial impressions. This fragrance on Fragrantica actually got a 3.6 out of 5, but there's only 75 votes. So it's not going so hot, but it isn't a bad fragrance so far. So we're going to give it our own take because Fragrantica can be wrong. Is there any notes here? It says the lady living across the street within the wall of dried vine roses. She's always greeted with a big friendly smile and a distinct voice as we come across each other. She was seemingly exquisite and popular as we came across each other each day on my way back home. We made a chat for a while. Exaggerated gestures and a bold look on the face. Pretentiously bright, I could smell the scent of loneliness from her, as if she is desperately trying to soothe the hunger she could never fill up. Very interesting. Burnt Roses was released in 2022. Enough with the making love to the track. Let's dive into this. A couple sprays on the strip. I'm going to give it a spray on my arm. I feel the need to, anytime we're dealing with rose, I not only want to describe it accurately, but I also want to let you know which realm of rose scent profile we're getting. Because rose and rose oud is just a dime a dozen in FragCom. Oh, it's a pretty rose. This is interesting. Haven't quite got a rose like this, but I know if you put your nose to it, it will seem like 2 steps above Bath and Body Works. But what makes it unique is it's got this almost sandalwood cashmere coating on it. So the rose opens up pungent, like moderately pungent and rich, but it kind of almost, it's a bit creamy and airy. It's a bit cashmerean, for lack of better words, like the cashmere scent profile. And it almost feels like a little bit incensey, so it almost goes in the direction of like a oud would, but not quite. In terms of like the tint on the rose is very woody in the same sense that oud wood is. Very quality though. I'm actually surprised with this rose. It's not a super familiar rose style. You know, Frederick Malle has roses. You got Atomic Rose. You've got rose oud fragrances like Alexandria and Oud Satin Mood, Oud Silk Mood. This ain't bad. You got Taif Oud from Roja. You got Portrait of a Lady. This is a cool take on rose. I mean, it feels modern and somewhat youthful, but 20s and 30s approved for the females for sure. It's not too kiddie-ish. Normally what drives it over the top for kiddie-ish is it's a more comical, theatrical, cartoonish type of rose, and then the decrease in quality and raw materials. Those two together would make the rose feel very Bath and Body Worksy, or even if the rose just kind of smells more water-based or something like that, you know, like a body spray. No, this is robust. In fact, if you judge it on the test strip, you might feel like it's a fleeting memory. But on skin, it actually ramps up quite a bit. You get the sandalwood. I the word cashmere is screaming out in my face. It has a very distinct accord that I'm getting. It's a very dry, airy, slightly damp, cashmere, sandalwoodish type of comic book rose. It's got a lot of personality, similar to like an atomic rose or a portrait of a lady rose, where it's just it's its own person, but the way they dressed it up feels very playfully romantic and a bit sexy from what feels like an incense or like a patchouli or something. Let's switch windows here. Okay, so I love their bottle presentation, by the way. It's really nice. I'm really surprised this got a 3.6. Is it performance that's ruining the mood? So the mood of this is supposed to be some kind of like desolate, lonely lady that's beautiful and vibrant, but you could tell she's lonely. I guess that's what the narrative was on the write-up. Aldehydes, ozonics, black pepper, and salt up top. I love that type of take. That's just a very unique take on the rose palette. And I'm so glad they didn't add oud, but incense and cashmere kind of jazz up the rose in a way that mood-wise feels like oud, but it's not as dense. It's a lot cleaner of a dark take. Middle, we have Bulgarian rose, lavender, oak moss, cinnamon. That's a beautiful heart. Wow. Lavender giving it some character, giving it some velvetyness. The oak moss grounding it. The cinnamon giving it some pop. Base notes, incense, olibanum, ambergris, cashmere. Okay, so it does actually have cashmere and sandalwood and patchouli and incense. Am I getting good at this stuff or what? I really enjoy this rose. I don't know about me personally, but on a woman, this would be stunning. I mean, obviously, fragrance like this has to be labeled unisex, right? Like, just for marketing. You know, surprisingly, I don't get much amber. It's a very clean, airy scent, but it is moderately robust, you know? But I get kind of that fresh, slight spicy, balsamic feel way more than I do the amber, but it's absolutely aldehydic. What does this remind people of? I'm curious. So it's moderate mostly. Some people say it's strong and long lasting. So it feels like it's not much of a sillage fragrance. It's more of like a 2-3 foot scent bubble type of scent. Put it on your skin if you guys are trying it, because it gets a lot more radiant. I think that amber kind of opens up more on skin, at least for mine. So this reminds them of Thabine, Ormond Jane. Which Ormond Jane? Oh, Ormond Man. Okay. Aromas de Salazar de Rosa. Anything I remember? Cafe Rose from Tom Ford. Yeah, I can kind of get that a little bit. I can get on board with that. That's not too bad. You got to pay attention to these votes, though. You know what I'm saying? These votes, but the votes are so low here, you can't really use that as a reliable thing. Okay, let's go to some usual suspects. I do think it's almost perfectly unisex with a slight feminine lean that isn't intimidating to me as a man wearing this. It would just be a vibe type thing. Much better on skin than on test strip, as it should be. It transitions just a little bit more ambery and a little bit more rosy on skin. It's fairly linear on the transition. It feels more cartoony of a rose, like Atomic Rose. But I love the earthy backbone to it. That's the redeeming quality that makes it perfectly unisex. It's got a good bit of aldehydic, earthy richness behind it, but it's still treated airy and soft. That just gives the rose, despite its cartoonish character, the earthiness comes in and says, no, this could be real. So I would call it like a surrealist take on rose, which is like this very futuristic, dreamy type of animation to a rose note. It's not the most natural, but the earthiness gives it some realism. It's almost like a real rose living in the future. Very nice scent, though. Sexy. It's not commonplace to a lot of the kind of statue roses that I smell when I go into a Neiman's. I really appreciate this scent profile. I can tell the performance is going to be tricky on people, 4 to 6 hours strong, which is okay to me. But you definitely might want to put an unscented lotion on or something like that just to carry it the rest. It's a very high quality scent, any season, any reason. I don't see this doing better in cold versus hot weather. I think it would work well. Don't wear it in high heat, but with most fragrances, that's the case. It's playfully romantic. It's upscale casual. Despite how animated it is, it does have a natural base, so I would take it into a breezy evening. A breeze on this fragrance would just be amazing. Like if you're at a park or you're on a beach, the wafts on this. But for that reason, though, with it being so light, I would go like 10 sprays of something like this. Like I would really push it, go outside, let myself waft for a bit to chill out, let it dry down. I do think this is more fitting for a woman than a man, but if a man wants to pop out and wear his pastels, for lack of better words, I think you could definitely rock this. I mean, if you could rock Atomic Rose and Portrait of a Lady, you absolutely can rock this, no question. But I do want to smell it on a woman. I just appreciate so much the contrast between the cartoonishness of this rose being at a high quality with raw materials and the contrast of earthiness. Normally, roses go in one direction, like completely serious or completely dark or completely oudy or completely natural rosewater-esque. This is playing with both, which is awesome. I give it an 8 or a 9, actually. It's not the most robust scent, so for that I might dock it. You know, this is one of those things where I wish I rated things with a decimal because I'd give it an 8.5. But this is one of the better roses I've smelled, so I'm going to give it a 9, but I think the world of rose lovers would give it at least a strong, solid 8. It's well above average, and I give it the 9 because they've done something with it that I haven't quite seen before. Now, I know if you turn over every rock, you're going to find a fragrance that did this with the rose. But in the mass marketed stuff in Neiman's, with all your kind of head honcho houses, Initio, Byredo, Frederick Mall, Creed, Chanel Exclusive, Bond No. 9, Tom Ford, etc., I feel like they've done something truly unique. So I'm going to round up to a 9. Sprays on this 6 to 10. Any alternatives to something like this? In the clone, dupe, and inspired category, I don't think you can get there. In the designer world, maybe Tom Ford's Cafe Rose can get you there, but the performance is god-awful. It really is. I think the only thing that this even kind of reminds me of is Atomic Rose from Initio. So that's... And you can't really, there's not any valid clones, in my opinion, to that scent profile. The most rosy profile you can play with, but you have to play with a lot of layering and small sprays and large sprays, is maybe like Amethyst. But you would have to do a lot of comboing with Airy, Coach Everyone, CK1, Coach Open Road type scents to really water it down to get more aldehydics or earthiness to it. 9 out of 10 for me, though. Really like this. Have you guys put your nose to Borntostandout fragrances? I'm half tempted at this point to get a discovery set, though I might have to get a half of one, because at this point, by the end of this week, we will have gone through like at least 5 from the house. But thankfully, I think they do sell half sets of discovery, so we'll have to get under the hood on that. For a Korean-based fragrance house, I haven't seen much from Korea, but I think I saw some documentary stuff about the perfumer or the company head, and they really want to strive to be innovative. And in the niche space, that is refreshing and good to hear, because that's why you should want to go to niche, because they take things everybody does and they try to go somewhere else with it. Uncharted territory is where I like my niche to go. I don't just simply want regurgitated ideas at a high quality. Yeah, it's cool for a while, but those type of fragrances don't get cemented into your memories and in your experiences as much. But anyways, guys, like, comment, and subscribe. More importantly, turn on that notification bell so you could stay in tune with the latest and greatest. We talk about everything on this channel every single day. There's not a single day that will go by this week or this month or this year where I am not dropping videos. That's plural, videos, every single day. So if you like fragrance content, please hop on board. It's free. give me a week to show you whether or not this is the place you want to be. And I guarantee you, you won't leave. So hope you have a blessed week. And this was Born to Stand Out's Burnt Roses. Absolutely love it.